Welcome back to Legends in the Making, the podcast for founders, teachers, and leaders, parents, anybody. This is for everyone who refuses to settle for soft culture, watered down truth, or misaligned success. I'm your host, Erin Sarles Bowers, mom of two, builder of movements, creator of legendary leadership alignment method, and founder of Blueprint to Blue Chip. I don't do fluff. I don't coddle. I help leaders reclaim their identity, raise the bar at home, and build legacies that won't burn out or break down. If you're ready to stop performing and start leading from the inside out, then you're in the right place. And today might be one that ruffles a few people's feathers. And I actually quite like this topic. We're calling today's episode, Stop Calling It Trauma When It's Just Consequences. Let's get one thing straight, okay? Not everything hard is harmful. Some of you are calling your coach toxic when they're just correcting you. Calling your parents abusive because they expect something from you. Saying your boss triggered you because they asked for accountability. Today, we're going to unpack this cultural obsession with labeling every uncomfortable moment as trauma and why that's just wrong and it's ultimately dangerous. So, we have hit the era of trigger warning, the trigger warning era. Let me give you a trigger warning. This might be a trigger warning. Why are we triggered? We have made truth feel unsafe. You now need a warning before speaking clarity. Think about this, you guys. Think about the fact that we cannot just share our thoughts, our feelings, without having to preference like, this might trigger you, trigger warning. What's triggering about it? You need to look inside of like, why does this trigger me? Sensitivity is not a virtue. Being disaligned with truth. And when I speak of truth, I speak of God's truth. I speak of the truth of the universe, the truth of who we are, how our world is operated and governed by God himself. There are immutable laws. There are laws of the universe that are unchanging, just like gravity. We don't argue with gravity. I wouldn't go trigger warning. Guess what, everybody? We are on this planet and held down because of gravity. Nobody would do that. Think about it. Trigger warning, I'm going to talk about God. Why does that trigger you? You are an emanation of God himself. You are source itself. There is only one force of energy here, and that is God. That should not be triggering. If that's triggering, that means you don't know the truth. God is all loving. God is all knowing. God is all good. God is all abundant. God is one with everyone and everything. We are all a part of God. Just like a ray of the sun is the sun, but it isn't the sun. You know, Jesus said it. I can't remember the Bible verse right now, but I and my Father are one, but my Father is greater than I. So I'm here to speak truth. I'm here to speak truth so that we may have clarity and power and to reclaim who we are. Because our society, our culture wants us to be disconnected from the natural intelligence of who we are. What is going on in the world today is a fight for the divinity of who we are. It's a fight for the remembrance that we are source itself, that we are divine, that we are good, that we are all the things I just described that God is. That is us. And we are here to adhere to two laws: love the Father and love our neighbor as we love ourselves. We are here to be love. We are here to give love. That's it. That is all we are here to do. So I'm in the point, as I especially raise these two kids, like, we have got to be speaking truth, not the truth, my version of something that I want to share with you, the actual truth of who we are. And to return to that, we have to reclaim our power. We've made emotional fragility a leadership strategy. That's not healing, that's spiritual regression. We have made it like a badge of honor, like we're so victimized and I am just so sensitive, and now we're going to kowtow down to the weak. That's their whole job, is for you to disconnect from the natural intelligence of who you are, to remember the truest essence of who you are. That's its function. That's why we're being presented with so much of this right now, is can we rise up and remember who we are? Can we? Can we do it? Because if we're all fighting and disconnected, well, guess what? We aren't moving forward. We are not moving forward. And we have a huge opportunity right now to reclaim our power, reclaim who we are, and take a stand and shift what is going on within our society. And hence why I've developed the two programs that I've developed. It's to reclaim that, to come back into alignment with that, and also create structure for your success. What we've gotten lost in the language of softness. Like, if I want to discipline my kid, it's now abuse. If you get them to have some grit, then they're aggressive. If there's consequences, it's like, oh, there's trauma. Like, that's insane. Parents being called emotionally neglectful for setting a curfew. And trust me, folks, I deal with this. As I shared at the top, I am a mom. Having rules seems like abnormal. We've created that. And our kids look at us like, what? It's like, no. You'll be home at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock is your curfew on school nights. It's not about a lack of trust. It's not about we don't love you. It's we love you so much that you need to be at home at 10 o'clock because you need to be in bed and ready for school the next day. But it's like, just let them do whatever they want is pretty much what we're starting to create, because we don't want the backlash. And that is insane. I watch it in sports with coaches. They can't criticize or say what they're thinking, or, don't raise your voice. Like, you got to coddle the kids. You got to make sure that everybody feels like they're doing a great job. If you suck, you suck. And if you are that player, you should want to be told the truth. Hey, you want to be great? Let me tell you the truth. Here's what you need to do. If you think you're great and you have no room to improve, you've already lost. Like, you have to be willing to go, I am so hungry. Tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. And the better option is to ask, is that your best? I love asking that question. I love asking that question to my kids. Is this your best? Is this reflect the exceptional human being God designed you to be? And sometimes I get the deer in the headlights look like, oh God, that I don't need to say anymore. Is this a reflection of your exceptionalism? It's not. Okay. What are we going to do about it? What are you doing right now that isn't exceptional? Do you want to be exceptional? If you don't want to be exceptional, that's cool. I'm fine with that. I'm not here to live your life, but at some point, you're not going to be living on my time because you don't want to be exceptional. We have to cause these kids to rise up, to grow up, and to want to take the feedback. We don't need to berate and beat anybody down. That isn't it. But it's getting people to step into who they are. There's so many examples where it's like CEOs, leaders getting criticized for saying that's not the standard. I watch the news. I used to be employed by Starbucks. We had a very strict dress code when I worked at Starbucks. Wasn't a big deal. They weren't paying me a stipend to go buy the shirts that I needed to wear, the pants that I needed to wear. I showed up in khakis or black pants in a black or white collared shirt, and we covered our tattoos, and we didn't have fake nails. We didn't have crazy hair color. We didn't have any of that. And we had a lot of people that worked for us, and we had a lot of people that worked for us that loved it. That was the standard. That was the expectation. This is the way you need to dress. If you don't like to dress that way, don't work here. Think about how we have coddled, and then they're going back and you watch people now and they're having a meltdown. It's like there's no standard when you walk in. Oh, I get to wear whatever I want, look at however I want. That's not the way we were intended to operate. We were intended to have standards of the way that we want to conduct business. We should have standards in our home. Do we make our kids make their beds? How do their rooms look? What are their chores and expectations around the house? Standards are not bad. They create guidelines, and everything else is a reflection of your relationship with who you are. I'll never forget. I can't remember who said this, but cleanliness is godliness. Cleanliness is a reflection of how connected to God you are. It's a reflection of how you feel about yourself. Being neat and orderly is a reflection of you. How you take care of things is a reflection of you. We've just become so flippant and in complete disregard. Nothing has any value. Nothing is of any importance. We need to get control of that. When things get out of control, how do we expect to build anything? You can't build greatness by complacency. You can't build greatness by being unwilling to call out what is not great. Why do you think people, I hear this all the time, mediocre people hate being around high performers, and high performers hate being around mediocre people? I don't know if I show up and I see this in sports a lot. It's like, if I'm great, I want everybody else around me to be great. Because if we're not all great, we don't win. So, yeah, I might be a great quarterback, but if my running back and my wide receivers suck, do you think we're going to win? Probably not. And I think of all the examples of player-led leadership that commands and demands other people to be as excellent as they are. It's like Michael Jordan. Why, did people, his teammates sometimes dislike him so much? Because he had the expectations that people performed like he did. He wanted you to be as good as he was. Same with Kobe Bryant. They demand you to be excellent because they're excellent, and they're excellent because they're doing the work. You got to do the work, folks. You got to put in the hard work. Like being exceptional, we all are capable of doing it. Are we willing to put in the effort, the discipline, the day-to-day, moment-by-moment choices that make us exceptional? What time do I wake up? Do I make my bed? What food do I put in my body? Do I journal? Do I connect into God? On and on and on. And then how disciplined am I in my day? I'm working. Am I checking social? Oh, I'm not checking social media. I'm focused. I've got to get this task and this task and this task done. That's what makes people exceptional. Doing the mundane, ordinary things better than everybody else and not thinking there's some magic pill that's going to solve it. We have got to stop thinking that it's all going to be easy. We are stripping agency away from people. We've made healing like this identity, and the identity becomes victimhood. Like, I see this so frequently. I appreciate you're willing to be vulnerable, okay, folks? But we wear stuff as a badge of honor. Sometimes it's like, who cares? Who cares? I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Who gives a shit? I'm sorry. It's like, I want to have something different that somebody might feel badly about me for, or look at me and go, how? It's like, who cares? Who cares? We do it with the over-identification of everything. Race, you name it. Who cares? God doesn't see your mental health disorder. God doesn't see your victimhood. God doesn't see your skin color. God doesn't see any of that. God sees perfection. God sees perfection in who you are and wants you to step into it. We see it with this whole white privilege conversation. No, we're all privileged because we're all an emanation of source itself. We're all children of God. We all have access to the ability to be great. You have a choice to be great. And there are so many incredible stories out there where people didn't allow that shit to define them and rose and became magnificent. Why do we allow shit like that to become a badge of honor? A badge of honor. It's not. We all have access to incredible creativity and talent that God is asking us to find and use and give back in the most loving way possible. But the only way we're going to be able to do that is stop lying to ourselves, to step into truth, to know that everything is your responsibility. All of us, we all signed in for the human experiment that we're in. We all signed in for it, for the good, the bad, the ups, the downs, all of it. It was all perfectly designed by each one of us and each one of our souls for us to grow. I'm not a victim of any circumstance. I'm not a victim because I got a divorce. I'm not a victim because I had anorexia as a teenage girl. Like, those don't define me. Those were things gifted to me to learn, to grow, and to be exceptional. So do you want to be exceptional, or do you want to keep telling yourself how victimized you are? Woe is me, my life's so bad, I have this, I have that, let me wear this badge, let me use this to gain favor. It's all bullshit. And it all needs to stop. At what point are we willing to call out and be bold and step into truth? Step into truth. You know, we all need accountability. We all need to understand that we aren't broken, that we're being called up. And the call is uncomfortable because it's meant to be. Got nothing. If you think of, I'm going to reference Jesus, trigger warning. Look at him. He suffered. It wasn't easy. That's what we agreed to. We agreed to that because in the elevation, in the contrast of the suffering, we understand the bliss. And we're not just like given this magic wand of like, woo, you're great. You know, if you really dig into almost every exceptional person's story, they're going to walk you through a lot of heartache, a lot of suffering, a lot of resilience, and a lot of stepping through all the things that I just talked about. Great people are not victimized. Great people are not using things as excuses to not step into being truly exceptional. They're willing to do whatever it takes to express that exceptionalism within them. And what's amazing is sports is one of the best ways to see that and to see that play out. But you take that off the field to so many other avenues. We have such a tremendous opportunity in front of us if we're willing to step in, if we're willing to take it. You know, having expectations, that's love. Having standards, to understand my standards are to be the way God intended for me to be. If I am not doing that, I'm not meeting the standard. I am not victimized. All I have to do is have an opportunity to shift my behavior to go, is that exceptional, Aaron? Is that demonstrate your exceptionalism? Nope. Was that your best effort? Nope. What am I going to do? I'm going to do something differently. The next moment, the next time, not beat myself up, but to understand, am I holding myself to the highest standard possible? That's it. Everything uncomfortable isn't unsafe. Sometimes things are just lessons. Sometimes they're just the learning to grow ourselves, to step in to who we truly are meant to be. So if this episode shook you, good. It was supposed to. Because the longer we play this game of labeling everything hard as harmful, the weaker our children become, our leaders and our cultures become. We are seeing it right before our eyes. At Blueprint to Blue Chip, we help parents raise leaders, not victims. If you're a parent ready to lead with clarity, DM me, Reset, to join the 5-day parent reset, Raising Exceptional. It's completely free, and all I ask is you make a donation to a charity of my choice. At Legendary Leadership Alignment, We're helping executives clear the fog, not feed it. If you're a founder or CEO, tired of ego-driven cycles, DM me clarity for a 5-day energy reset. Again, completely free. And again, all I ask is you make a donation to the charity of my choice. This isn't about being harsh. It's about being holy. It's about being godlike. It's about remembering the truth of who we are and owning it, not running from it, not being like, I can't say that. That might trigger somebody. No more. We need a wake-up call. We need a wake-up call within this society, within this country, and we need to step into the greatness that God intended each one of us to be.